How you guys doing? Hey, what's going on? Hey, welcome to the program. Welcome to Talking Philly Sports with Matty B, with your host, your boy, Matty B. It is Tuesday, September the 13th, 2022, and boy, oh boy, oh boy. Eagles, Lions, week one in the books, a W. We start the season off 1-0, but why is there so much venom surrounded your Philadelphia, or I should say our Philadelphia Eagles on this Tuesday evening? I don't know. And I'm asking that honest question because they won. That is all that matters, right? Right? Is all that matters that the Eagles won? Does it matter that much that we gave up 35 points to the Detroit Lions? Does it matter at all that our quarterback had to take it upon himself 17 times and try to move the ball on his own power? Does it matter that Nakobe Dean, the prince of the draft, played 3 plays? Does it matter that apparently the Eagle run defense was significantly better with Jordan Davis in the game than they were without him in the game, but yet he didn't play that much? Does it matter? Well, we're about to talk about all that, and I'm going to get my opportunity to throw my 2 cents worth into that pot. Hey, it is Tuesday night. You're watching EOP. It's 9 p.m., so that means you're with me, and it's a pleasure to be back here on Tuesday nights. As last week, I took the week off, kind of. I was on Friday. I enjoyed that kind of end of the week spot, but I'm glad to be back here on my usual Tuesday haunt here at the top of the 9 p.m. hour on Edge of Philly Sports Network. And as I mentioned, Eagles heavy, NFL heavy, as week one is now officially in the books, and we are going to break down the Eagles Lions. We're also going to talk about how I did personally in my week one picks before we kind of transform or transition into week two and talk about some Eagles Vikings and also give you my week two NFL picks. Also, we're going to mix in some Phillies as the Phillies are running towards October, and all signs say that they will finally break the 11-year curse and that the Phillies will get to the playoffs. But before we get started, we're going to do something that we do here on the program every week, and that is talk about this day in Philadelphia sports history. But I really couldn't find anything on this day. I had to go yesterday. I had to go to September the 12th to find a juicy little sports trivia nugget. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to September 12th instead of September 13th, and we're going to talk about what happened on this date in September 12th. And we got to go all the way back to 1999, and that was the dawn of the Andy Reid era here in Philadelphia. It started off kind of happy and fun as the Eagles built a 21-point lead against the Arizona Cardinals, only to see them blow that lead late, losing 25-24. But we all know what the arrival of Andy Reid would become. The greatest renaissance in Philadelphia Eagle history, as the team went from a perennial doormat to one of the most to a powerhouse for over a decade. And those are the days that I miss, man. That's why I spoke about this last week with Kyle Quinn. You know, I want to go back to those days of solid, dominant football, a solid, dominant base of players where we just go out every year and we kind of add some depth. I don't like this build up, tear down nonsense of Howie Roseman and his criminal regime as they go out every year and friggin' invent the wheel, it seems, and bring in new players. 17 of them were new this year, and you saw how that worked out on Sunday. I miss those days of just hardcore dominant football. And on this date, or I should say yesterday, September the 12th, 1999 is when Andy Reid made his coaching debut for the Philadelphia Eagles, and the rest, they say, is history. So that is your date in Philadelphia sports history, September 12th, 1999. And now, folks, I guess it's time for me to crack my knuckles, say my prayers, and take my deep breath as we're going to jump into some week one Philadelphia Eagles, Detroit Lions. And here we go. So I, like you, spent my Sunday afternoon in high anticipation for that game. I was waiting all morning for it. I did the EOP pregame show. I got settled down. I popped open my favorite beverage, and boom, smack right on the TV. And what I saw, of course, we all remember, was something that kind of scared the hell out of me. An opening drive that the Detroit Lions would just pretty much do it at what they wanted against the Eagles, highlighted by a 50-yard DeAndre Swift run, capitalized by a Detroit Lion touchdown, and then a Philadelphia Eagles first offensive possession that went absolutely nowhere. And then all the bells, alarms, and whistles and red flags were waving. And no, I was not sitting here doing a victory dance about how awful his team was playing to kind of validate my opinion about Howie Roseman. It's never been about that. I don't want the Eagles to suffer. I want Howie Roseman fired. Unfortunately, the suffering part might be what has to happen, but I don't enjoy it. And I wasn't enjoying what I was seeing early on Sunday afternoon as the Eagles went down early because I honestly thought they were going to get blown out. I did. I did. And I know it's ridiculous to say that after just two possessions in a week one game, but I was not feeling it. What I was seeing from the Eagles in that, that little bit of football, that one defensive possession and that one offensive possession was a lot like I saw last season, more specifically against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers when we left the field against them in the playoffs. So I was seeing all that. And yes, I was concerned. And yes, I was not happy. And yes, I was feeling a little validated. I ain't gonna lie. I'm a human being, right? But for the Eagles' credit, they righted the ship. They did what they had to do. Jalen Hurts and the rest of them beat a bad team. They did what they were supposed to do. They beat a team that was inferior to them, and they did. And we're going to talk a little bit of inside the numbers, and we're going to go talk about certain players. And you've heard about this all throughout the last couple of days, and you know this as much as I do. At the end of the day, they beat a team that they're supposed to have beat. But did they play good? Did they play well? Did they play well enough to beat, I don't know, the Minnesota Vikings, say, who they're going to face on Monday night at the Link? That seems to be the question that everybody's having a hard time trying to figure out. Because what we saw on paper was a victory. What we saw on paper, or deeper on paper, was a struggle. A struggle against a team that has a stiff of a quarterback in Jared Goff. And, Dan Campbell, who honestly don't know how he got the job. I don't, because he doesn't know what he's doing. And we saw all those things, and yet we saw a struggle. And everyone's like, well, they were up 31-14 in the second half. Yeah, it was kind of, that at that time. No, man, it wasn't. It wasn't. So the Eagles, they'll go down 7-0, but then to the credit of the Eagles, they battle back and they take a 24-14 lead into halftime. And I think people were feeling a little bit better about themselves. And I remember going on the EOP halftime show and speaking about the fact that I'm not liking what I'm seeing from the defense. I'm not liking what I'm seeing from the lack of any kind of offensive movement that does not involve Jalen Hurts' legs or A.J. Brown. I mean, that's what the Eagle offense was in the first half on Sunday, was the Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown show. That's all it was. And it was not very encouraging to see that. Jalen at times looked very confused. Jalen at times looked very overmatched. Jalen at times never looked like a franchise quarterback. Never. Not one time in that game. That beautiful 54-yard bomb to A.J. Brown in the second half was a thing of beauty. It was. But that's one play out of what? How many? 40 plays they ran? It was a very lackluster performance from Jalen Hurts as he now embarks on his third year of his rookie year. Lackluster. Left a lot of free chicken on that field. A lot of underthrown balls. 17 rushes for 96 yards. You might be like, well, he's making plays. He's making plays with his legs. He's extending drives. He's putting himself at risk is what he's doing. And more times than not, he was breaking a clean pocket. More times than not, he was checking to that first receiver, head went down, and he was gone. That's the Jalen Hurts of 2021. I don't see any progression there. Not a bit. Now, defensively, oh boy. This was the story of the summer. Dan Campbell has no more excuses. John Gannon has no, Dan Campbell doesn't either, but John Gannon has no more excuses. We gave him a pass. So we didn't have the personnel to run any kind of legitimate defensive scheme. Well, he got all the toys, man. He got all the presents this summer. Everything was delivered to him. What did he do with it? Nothing. No pass rush to speak of. A linebacker core that apparently still doesn't know how to tackle, even though we got a whole bunch of new pieces. Hassan Reddick, did he play in this game? Because I don't remember seeing him. Kobe Dean, Did he play in this game? Remember draft night, folks? Oh, Howie's a genius, folks. He has picked a gem out of the third round. Kobe Dean played 3 plays in this game. Maybe the other GMs knew what the hell they were talking about too. The defense was pitiful. The schemes were vanilla. The schemes were pedestrian. There was no pass rush. Jared Stiff Goff stood back there and picked the Eagles apart. And even though we went into the half 24-14 up, right, against an inferior team, everybody around the Delaware Valley was concerned. We were concerned about what we were seeing on the field, concerned about the lack of innovation, concerned about the lack of sustained offense, concerned about the fact that apparently all Jalen Hurts can do is either run the ball or throw it to A.J. Brown. So the Eagles come out, and I said this at the halftime show. I said, listen, they got to come out. They're going to get the ball coming out the half. They go down the field, make it 31-14. Boom, we can put this bad boy to bed. See ya. And that's what they did. 31-14. But then the Lions get the ball and go right back down the field and score, make it 31-21. And then the play of the game, folks, occurred right after that. When Dan Campbell, ill-conceived, decided to go for an onside kick with 9.5 minutes left in the third quarter. Folks, that was the play of the game. If Kazir White or if McPherson does not make that play, if he decides to kind of just turn around like typical special teams players and get into his role as a blocker instead of staying home and waiting for an onside kick, and the Lions recover that, we might be talking a different tune this Tuesday evening, because that would have been a game changer. It was a game changer when it went the other way, too. Dan Campbell was a fool to do that. The Eagles would then get the short field, go in for the touchdown, and go up for a little bit more, but still it didn't seem comfortable enough. It didn't. And then basically the Lions outplayed the Birds in the second half. After the Eagles made it 31-14, right before the onside kick, the Lions would come out and outscore the Eagles. From that point on, when it was 31-14, the Lions would outscore the Eagles 21-7 the rest of the way. They would outscore the Eagles 21-7 the rest of the way. Let me repeat that. They would outscore the Eagles 21-7 the rest of the way. I will never accept prevent defense with 9 minutes left to go in the third quarter. This is not going to work for me. You can't take your foot off the pedal. They were outscored 21-7 the rest of the way. Amazing. So, but the Eagles won. They held on. But Jared Goff would finish 21 for 37, 215 yards, 2 touchdowns, and interception. DeAndre Swift, 15 carries, 144 yards, and a touchdown. St. Brown, 8 receptions for 64 yards and a touchdown. The Eagles got absolutely no pressure on Jared the Stiff Goff and allowed him to stick around in this game. Allowed the Lions to stick around in this game. So what are we talking about here now on Tuesday night? 38-35. It's a victory. It's a win. But we're not talking about that in Philadelphia. No, we're talking about, we're going to give John Gannon one more game. One more game, John Gannon. And if you don't figure it out against the Minnesota Vikings, we're going to call for your head. Why not the GM? Huh? Are we going to have to go through everybody before we get to that criminal Howie Roseman and fire him and hold him accountable for all this? I said this going into the season that on paper it was a great offseason. And again, it's one game, and I understand that. But the returns on the defensive additions after one game are nothing. With maybe the exception of Kazir White, who him and James Bradbury teamed up to make one of the best plays of the season so far. And that was that deflected interception, pick 6. The Eagles' first interception of the season, a feat that they did not pull off until week 5 last year. That was a beautiful play. That was gorgeous. Loved it. But that was it. That was your defensive highlight, folks. And at the end of the game, Miles Sanders breaks that run. Was it the 4th and 1 or whatever, 3rd and 1, and he broke it, and he got about a 9-10 yard gain, and he iced the game. But that was a second burst run, too. He kind of wiggled his way out of some pressure, and he got the first down. We were lucky, folks, to win against the Detroit Lions. Lucky. And there's people out there saying that we weren't. The good teams find a way to win. Ah, we beat the Lions 41-6 last year, and I heard that all last week too. And we beat them 38-35. So kudos to the Eagles for winning. But the defensive non-returns on the players or the investment, the continued faith in John Gannon to turn around or to change his defensive scheme. When does it end? Do we have to endure another 2-5 start before we decide to make a move? So the Eagles won 38-35, and now standing in front of them, and it was a weird Sunday in NFL football. The entire NFC East won, except with the exception of the Dallas Cowboys, who lost on Sunday Night Football to the Buccaneers, and in the process lost Dak Prescott for about 2 months due to a broken thumb or whatever. So right now we're sitting in a first place tie with the Commanders and the Giants as the Cowboys are in last place. So it is week 1 and it's a bizarre week. There's 2 overtime games. There was a tie. I mean, there was still some sloppy football, and that's indicative of how things are these days. And we knew that going in, right? We don't start seeing really good football until about mid-October. But the Eagles, they found a way to win. And obviously we have nothing. What we can do is just move on. Put this thing behind us. Hopefully the Eagles learn from their mistakes. And then going out on Monday night at home, a home opener on Monday Night Football, redeem themselves in front of their home crowd. Because if they play defense like they played against the Lions, against the Vikings, against Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, it's not going to be a Galvin Cook. It's not going to be a good day. It's not. Kirk Cousins is going to tear them apart. Now, the Vikings themselves are coming off of a pretty big, impressive victory on Sunday. They handled their business against the division rival, the Green Bay Packers, 23-7. Kirk Cousins was 23 for 32 for 277 yards and 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Dalvin Cook rushed the ball 20 times for 90 yards. Justin Jefferson, 9 receptions with 184 yards. Adam Thielen, 3 receptions for 36 yards. Dalvin Cook, 3 receptions for 18 yards. And Jalen Reagor was not targeted once in this game, but he did have a punt return. It was for 7 yards. But the Minnesota Vikings handled their business against a future Hall of Fame quarterback in Aaron Rodgers. What do you think they're going to do to Jalen Hurts? So as we get ready to kind of get into this thing, and we take a look at the Vikings, and we take a look at the Eagles, and we take a look at the intangibles that are involved in this game, coaching, what side of this coin do you guys come out on? I think it's too early for me to make a decision. Well, no, it's not. But as we move through the week, we'll make better assessments of this. Derek Barnett lost for the season with a torn ACL. The Eagles are now either going to go out on the waiver wire, replace him, or apparently next man up it, whatever they want to do here. But how comfortable are you feeling with this Philadelphia team? And I'm not going to single out the defense. I'm not. Because the offense was very one-dimensional too. 17 carries for our quarterback. 17. Can't sustain winning like that in the NFL. Someone's going to hit him. And he was getting hit just about every time he went down too. Can't have a quarterback that's going to run the ball 17 times every game and expect, 1, the quarterback to last the season, and 2, to win. This doesn't work that way. So the Philadelphia Eagles have a lot of work to do. A lot of work. And as we move forward into the season, and again, the season is a season, what they say, every game is a season within itself, right? The Eagles are going to learn from their mistakes. They are going to look at some things. I don't think that the coaching staff is totally incompetent to be sitting down there right now saying, you know what, there's nothing we can fix because it was great. It wasn't. Jordan Davis, why isn't he playing more? Are the Eagles that hell-bent on a rotational system that they're not going to ride a hot hand? And Kobe Dean, what has happened there? What has happened? I was told Howie was a magician for pulling off that move. That Kobe Dean was Micah Parsons was the name I heard him compared to. What happened there? So he's on the field for 3 plays. Huh? I'm waiting for all the Howie apostles to come back at me right now and tell me what's going on with Kobe Dean. And you know what they're going to tell me? I got to be patient. He's a work in progress. That's not what you told me on draft night. On draft night, you told me he was the next coming. He was going to lead the Eagle linebacking corps for the next 12 years. What's he going to do it from the sidelines? I don't know, man. Now, one positive thing, A.J. Brown, the real deal, folks. A.J. Brown, the real deal. I am, after just one game, I'm prepared to say that was a great move by Howie. I am. He finished the day with 10 receptions for 155 yards. He was targeted 13 times. And I mentioned that beautiful 50-yard touchdown or the beautiful 50-yard pass and catch between him and Jalen Hurts. He's a beast. It's big, fast. He is a lot like a young version of T.O., I guess. He's got the attributes of T.O. He's not T.O., but he's got the attributes. Definitely a very good pickup by the Philadelphia Eagles. A.J. Brown is going to be the real deal, and he's definitely going to be here for a very long time being that real deal. Now, whether or not we have a quarterback that can throw him the ball and really take advantage of him, I don't know. But I'm prepared to give it to him. He is the real deal. Oh, Walter hits me up. I told it was A.J. Brown for Trey Burks. I told it was A.J. Yeah. I mean, are you saying that you support the trade? Yeah, I do. I do. Yeah, I think it was good. Trey Burks didn't have a good rookie debut in Tennessee. I think he had like one reception or something like that. So, listen, I'm not sitting here telling you I'm right all the time. A.J. Brown's a beast. Definitely, after one game, the results are good. Oh, Dave, what's up? Tells me that the Dak surgery was a success, not as bad as they thought. It'll be out 4 weeks. Okay, 4 weeks. Good for the Cowboys. Who the hell cares? So the Eagles now are getting ready to face the Minnesota Vikings in a game that they're not going to be able to hide behind Jared Goff. A game that they're not going to be able to hide behind a Detroit front four that was not very good. They're not going to be able to hide. It's going to be right out there, and it's prime time, nationally televised. Only game in town. So there's a lot at stake here for the Eagles this week. There's a lot. There's a lot. And, we're all going to be watching. We're going to be watching the defensive schemes, the defensive rotations, the pass rush or the lack thereof a pass rush, the blitz. Where was that at on Sunday? John Gannon was, we gave him the pieces to the puzzle. We gave him the keys to the car, man. Why could he not drive it? Did he get his license suspended or something? So, early returns are not very encouraging for the Eagles right now. I'm not feeling it because we're not going to play the Lions every week. I'm not feeling it. Not feeling it right now. But it's early. Sean says, what's up, Matty? We better play the lights out defense come Monday night. No excuses. That's right, Sean. We better. But you know what? I don't understand that no excuse part either because every week that's all we talk about on these shows is excuses. Excuses of why this didn't happen or that happened or, what was I've been hearing. What's the popular ones? Week one. Week one is the biggest one. Oh, it's week one. What do you expect? They're going to knock the rust off. What is different between this game that you saw Sunday and the games we watched last year? They were pretty much the same thing. It was the same type of game. A defense that could not stop anybody, and Jalen Hurts failing to read progressions and running too early and trying to win games with his feet. What is different? Tell me. Tell me what is different between 2022 in week one and 2021 17 weeks. 18 if you count the Buccaneers. What is the difference? So I don't want to hear the excuse of all the rusty and they're going to not. What are you talking about? This team it's the same product that we saw all of last year. So what's I don't get that. I don't understand it. I'm confused about that. The other thing I'm hearing is about players, right? Players figuring themselves out. It was a bad game. It was a bad plan. It was not schemed well. What is the difference between that and all of last year? That's what it was all. That was the excuses I heard last season for 17 weeks. I'm hearing the same stuff, the same excuses this week that I heard for 17 weeks last year. And we won. And we won on Sunday. but I'm hearing the same excuses that I heard in 2021. Tell me what is different. Tell me why I should listen to the excuses again, other than the fact that I'm a Philadelphia sports fan, and that's what we do. Hmm? My man, Big Al, not much, but we would have lost if it was not for his legs. Al, I understand that. I understand that, and at the end of the day, that's what it's about, right? You got to get the dub. I got it. You got to get the win. But in a season where there's so many, careers on the line, so to speak, we're searching for this franchise quarterback. Al, do you feel any? And I know you're not necessarily a Jalen Hurts guy. I know you're not anti Hurts. You're just not on the Jalen Hurts train yet. I think you're on the Howie train, by the way, and I think we're going to have some issues with that. But I know you're not a Jalen Hurts guy per se, but to sit here and tell me that he has made any kind of claim to that franchise quarterback mantra any more than this year than he has last year, no one can tell me that. No one can tell me that because it's the same damn product that I saw last season that I saw Sunday. Same thing. To include the frustrating inaccuracies with his passing. Devontae Smith. Now, I don't know Devontae Smith and Jalen Hurts' relationship when they played together in Alabama. I don't know. But for me, it did seem kind of weird. They never seemed like the best of friends when they were put together here last season. They never seemed that way. I hear there's chemistry issues. Was he targeted like twice or once? No receptions? What is that? Someone's going to figure out that you got to take A.J. Brown away from Jalen Hurts. And once you do that, you're going to have to make them beat you somewhere else. Where is that other place going to be? Do we trust Jalen Hurts? I say we don't, but we're going to make excuses for him. We're going to say how it's week 2, and then it's week 3, and then it's week 4. We're going to make excuses for him. I'm not buying it, man. Check it out. It's week 1, not week 10. We should be fine. Everyone is hitting the panic button. Preseason anymore a joke because your starters rarely play. You agree, Sean? I agree with your statement about the starters not playing. I do. And we have 17 new players on this team, and the majority of those 17 are like major contributors. But again, what the hell difference did you see on Sunday that you saw last year? Because I didn't see any difference. I didn't see any difference of the product that was on the field Sunday than the product that walked off the field against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in January. I didn't see anything different. What's the excuse then? I got the week 1 stuff. I understand that. We won week 1 last year against the Falcons in the same type of situation, right? Same type of preseason, same type of training camp. And the game wasn't that clean against the Falcons. They dominated early on offensively and then kind of went away and then, not limped to the victory, but, it wasn't a clean game. But there was a hell of a lot more hype around this team last season at week 1 than there is now. Why is that, Sean? Because, in my opinion, it looks too much like the product that left the field last year. And all this great change that we made, all these great personnel we picked up. The magic of the criminal Howie Roseman has equated to absolutely nothing at this point. So I'm not looking at it as week 1 of 2022. Maybe I'm looking at it as week 19 of 2021. Because I don't see a difference. I don't see what all the big changes have made for this team. Don't, the exception of A.J. Brown. So that's what I'm trying to say. I'm not drinking the green Kool-Aid anymore, if you guys haven't noticed that, right? I'm not. My green sunglasses have been put away, okay? I want to see friggin' results. I want to see the trophies. I want to talk about division championships. I want to talk about, like I said at the top of the show, sustained winning every year with a great foundation and nucleus of players, where every year all we have to do is add depth instead of tearing it down and rebuilding it every friggin' offseason. I'm tired of that. This criminal has destroyed this team and this culture here, and yet I want to hear excuses. It's week 1. Who cares? It's the same product that left the goddamn field last year. gotta settle down, man. I gotta go decaf. Fred, the Eagles win that in that game if Jalen Hurts is not the quarterback. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely 100 a 100%. 100%. Yep. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Doesn't sound more like coaching issue. Does it sound more like a coaching issue? Okay, Al, we said the same thing last year. And what was the excuse? Especially on the defensive side. You didn't have the people. Okay, we're gonna still say it's a coaching issue with the people, but yet he's still here, right? The head coach is still here. I don't I guess I don't understand the question. Is it a coaching issue? Yeah, probably. Is it a personnel issue? Yeah, probably. Is it a combination? Yeah, probably. But at the end of the day, Alan, you're a football player. You played this game. You know, you can be coached up. You can be told of every scenario, every situation, be told where to be told what to do. But at the end of the day, you're the one that's got to perform. You're the one that's got to perform. That's my that's the long and short of it. Fred says, "No way. The line was atrocious. I'm not a Hurts believer either. The line was atrocious. Yes, absolutely, absolutely. But I still believe any quarterback wins that game. Easy." Sean says, what I saw was new players on the team. The officiating blew. Oh man, oh come on, Sean. Did you just go there? Just blame the refs. Come on, man. Gannon has to get his head out of his ass and be aggressive. Come on, man. Blame the refs, man. About your first comment about the new players on the team. This is the Howie norm, though, Sean. 17 new players on the roster this year. Last year was 15. The year before that, I think it was like 13. This is the Howie way. This is your GM's way of rebuilding every season. So this is the way I mean, if Howie's like dead set on building a team like this, then shouldn't the coaching staff understand that and have more of an aggressive way to kind of get chemistry and cohesion with these guys in the summertime, other than maybe relying on the joint practices and shooting the horse out there in the driveway? I didn't hear much about horse this year. Maybe they're not doing that anymore. But shouldn't if you know your GM is aggressively rebuilding every year and giving you multiple pieces every season to the tune of this year 17, would you think you would have to go into your training camp and your preseason a little bit more aggressively than what Howie or what Nick has done? And what about the reports of Howie Roseman now that I heard today is actually in the room when they're game planning? What about that? John Johnson of WIP reported that. Howie Roseman is in the room when they're game planning. Do you think he's sitting in the back of the room sitting on his hands, not saying anything, or is he actually telling them who to play? What about that report? Anybody help me out and confirm or deny that? A lot of things don't sound right about this organization right now, Sean, and they haven't sounded right for many years. And I'm not getting off the hill, man. I'm not. I'm not blaming Howie Roseman for this loss. So let's get it straight. He didn't play the game. No, I'm not. I'm not blaming. But what I'm not going to do is sit here and make excuses for why this team lost. This team lost because they see. I'm saying lost and they won. This team won, but nobody feels confident about how they won or how they went about it. Just like everyone's going to tell me they're going to win 13 games this year, but nobody wants to talk about the Super Bowl. Oh, no, we're not talking Super Bowl, but we're going to win 13 games this year. But stay away from the Super Bowl conversation because no comment. Amazing. I am also not a believer of Howie, but I will say that this was the first offseason I was actually happy with the moves he made, including the draft. Yeah. No, and I agree. Absolutely agree. This was the first year, and I've said this, I'm on record of saying this, that he listened to the fans. You know, he went the direction that we said or we wanted him to. He addressed, finally, he gave us a wide receiver that can play the position. He addressed, allegedly on paper, the defense. The returns on the defense after one game are not that good. And that's just the bottom line of it. And I don't want to hear Sean about the refs. Come on, man. Come on. Yeah, I mean, you're right, and I'm sure you're referring to some of the personal fouls that weren't called when Jalen would dive and he got hit. But come on, I'm not ever gonna die. I'm never gonna blame. It's a poor artist that blames his brush. Come on, man. Come on. If the same product is on the field, but they brought in new players, isn't that the coaching scheme? Isn't that the coaches scheming? Al, is it though? Is it? I don't know because I know as a player in my day, as a player, as a player, but the coach is going to tell me all day long, okay, I want you to go this gap, or I want you to blitz or stay back in coverage. But at the end of the day, as a player, I'm gonna trust my instincts and maybe try to do what I think is right on the field. And I don't know if that's the way it is on that team, and if they have liberty to do stuff like that. I agree with you. There is coaching. There is a coaching issue, and I'm not a Nick Sirianni guy, not a bit. I'm not a John Gannon guy, not a bit. I agree with that, but you know, I guess the only way to really figure that out is if we fire the coaching staff now and hire a whole new group and go forward with them. I mean, it worked for the Phillies, didn't it? I mean, it worked for the Phillies this year. So I don't know. I don't know. But you're right, Al. You are. I might be old school, but what is the defender supposed to do? I don't think that it was as bad as a hit as people are making out to be. Yeah, Fred, I think there's a couple of hits that are being kind of talked about. And, if you look at the rule when it says about the quarterback giving himself up, um, sometimes this game is so fast at the NFL level. If there's a defender that's in the process of trying to make a tackle just at the same time as Jalen Hurts goes into a dive or a slide, I mean, what's the defender supposed to do? He can't stop in midair and then kind of pivot away. Physics won't allow that. So I think the rule is more in place for if you go into your tackling motion or attempt to tackle as the quarterback has already given himself up. That's where the rule for personal foul is. And I know there's been some questions about not necessarily that, but the head-to-head contact. There was a couple. One guy got ejected for it, which was the right call to make. You're right. I didn't see it as egregious calls when it came to that. It's a fast game. It's a violent, fast game played by violent, fast men. What are you going to do? It is what it is. What do they tell me? If you're scared, get a dog. Is that what I've been told that? So maybe that's what I like to tell Jalen Hurts. If you're scared, get a dog. Or Eagles fans out there that are blaming the refs for what happened on Sunday. If you're scared, go get a dog, because I'm not buying that either. But my point is this: 38-35 at the hands of the Detroit Lions. We won the game, and we've lost sight of that. You would think if you're from outer space and you didn't know the score, and the way we're talking about our beloved Eagles, we lost on Sunday. That's what you would think by the conversation. That's what you would think. And why is that? We trust, but yet we don't. We want to believe, but yet we don't. We guzzle the green Kool-Aid, and we wear our green sunglasses to a fault. But the reality is staring at us in the face. I picked the Detroit Lions to win on Sunday. I did that. That's where I got it from. Actually, I got it from Kyle Quinn. But then Al threw it at me this week too. I agree, Fred. So, and that's Dave. That's a great question, and that to me was the game. Dan Campbell threw the game away with that play. I don't care. You're down by 10 points, and there's 9.5 minutes left to go in the third quarter. What the hell are you doing, kicking an onside kick? That was the game. If they kick that ball deep, I think the Lions win that game. I do. They outscored the Eagles 21-7 from that point forward. I think the Eagles lose that game if Dan Campbell doesn't go for that onside kick. I really do. I really believe that. Amazing. That's why he doesn't belong. And again, that's why the Lions are not a good team at all, because they got coaches. They got a coach like that. So I don't know. I don't know, folks. I'm having a hard time, man. I'm having a hard time. But I picked the Lions to win. I picked the Lions to win 31-17. I was wrong about the score. The Lions scored 35, so I was off by 4. I picked the Lions to win 31-17. Now, the Eagles, to their credit and to Jalen Hurts' legs credit, he kept him in that game. He did. But when you go back and look at the tape, was it Jalen Hurts' legs that kept him in the game, or was it Jalen Hurts' once again his inability to read a defense and do his checkdowns that put him in a position to have to use his legs? Because RG3, every time I see Jalen run, I'm thinking of RG3 every time. And one day that hit's coming that he's not going to be able to walk away from. 17 times is too much. You ain't going to sell me on that ever. 17 times is too much. So 38-35, the Eagles a winner on Sunday. And now, how was old Matty B? As I mentioned, I took the Lions to win, and I lost that. Well, how did I do with the rest of my picks in week one? I didn't do too good, folks. 5-11 for the week, man. 5-11. I haven't had a 5-11 like week in a long time. And let's kind of go over some of those games, shall we? I got my little notebook here. Let's take a look at my week one games. Not a good week for me. It was an odd week in the NFL, as I mentioned. 2 overtime games, a tie. Right off the bat, Buffalo and the Rams. Matt Stafford's my starting quarterback in fantasy football. Not anymore, but he was my starting quarterback in fantasy football. Buffalo came out and just punched the Rams in the face and said, congratulations on your Super Bowl trophy. Hold my beer, because that was a beatdown. That was a beatdown. And then I had the Saints and the Falcons. Obviously, I'm going to be picking against the Saints all season long because we need that number. We needed a high draft pick to get that quarterback in the future next year. But the Saints found a way to win and beat the Falcons. Then the upset of the week, folks. The upset of the week. The Bears over the 49ers in the monsoon of Soldier Field. Anybody see that one coming? I know I didn't. And then the Cincinnati-Pittsburgh game that went into overtime, with Cincinnati scoring at the last seconds of the game and then missing the extra point. And I mean, come on, you can't make this stuff up, man. And then Pittsburgh winning in overtime. Then the Jets and Patriots. I'm sorry, not the Jets and Patriots, but the Patriots and Dolphins. I actually picked that one right. I had the Dolphins. Baltimore and the Jets. I had Baltimore. Jacksonville and Washington. Man, Carson Wentz, really? Maybe Doug Peterson really wasn't that good of a coach. I took Jacksonville. Yeah. Cleveland and Carolina. Yep, took Carolina. Indy and Houston. I took Indy. It was a tie. And the Jets and the Giants and Titans. Took the damn Titans. What a fool I was. Green Bay, Minnesota. Took Green Bay. Kansas City, Arizona. Got that one right. Took Kansas City. Chargers and the Raiders. I got the Chargers. Tampa and Dallas. I went with Tampa. Denver and Seattle. My girlfriend, we were watching that game last night, and she walked in late, and she sat down, and she looked up at the TV, and she said, Matt, I'm like, what's up, baby? What you want, woman? But she's like, why is there a bunch of highlighters running around the field? Who in the hell designs those uniforms, man? They are god-awful. She's like, why is there a bunch of highlighters running around the field? I agree, baby. I don't know. But I took Denver, and Denver's new rookie head coach, coached his way right out of a win, in a odd game. And then of course the Steelers and Eagles, or Lions and Eagles, and all to a tune of 5-11 week one. Old Matty B coming out the gate with a thud. So let's transition out of week two, because I can't do worse than 5-11. I mean, I got to do better just on sheer odds. So let's talk about my week two picks, and let's get into them right now. I got to open up my book again. So my week two picks. Give me a second, I'll find it. God damn it. Here we go. Week two. All right. So Thursday night football, we got the Chargers and the Chiefs. Going with the Chiefs. It's their home opener. I'm going to go with the Chiefs. Then I got the Jets at Cleveland. Got to go with Cleveland. Then you got Washington at Detroit. I'm going with Washington. All right. Going with Washington. Tampa at New Orleans. Going to go with Tampa. Carolina at the Giants. Going with Carolina. New England at Pittsburgh. Got to go with New England. Indy at Jacksonville. Going with the Colts. Miami at Baltimore. I kind of went back and forth about this game, but I think I like Baltimore here. Atlanta and the Rams. Rams are going to rebound and they're going to take their frustrations out on the lowly Falcons. And Seattle at San Francisco. Seattle can enjoy the win, but they're going to lose to San Francisco. And then Cincinnati at Dallas. Who's Dallas's backup quarterback? Is it Matt D'Anzio again? Is he still the backup quarterback? Andy Dalton, Drew Bledsoe. Who is the damn backup quarterback? Dave, you know who it is. Chime in with it because I don't know who it is. Give me Cincinnati. Houston at Denver. I'm gonna go with Denver. Arizona at the Raiders. Give me Arizona. Chicago at Green Bay on Sunday Night Football. A huge NFC North game. Going with the Green Bay Packers and the Tennessee Titans at Buffalo Bills is your week one or is your week two first Monday night game. There's two Monday night games this week. Of course, the Eagles and the Vikings are the second one. I'm going to go Buffalo over Tennessee. And then, of course, Minnesota at Philadelphia. Folks, my week two pick, Minnesota at Philadelphia. Give me the Minnesota Vikings all day long. I think it's going to get ugly. I think the Boo Birds will be out. There'll be Phillies cheers coming out of the link. It's going to get ugly, man. I just see it an ugly game for the Eagles on Monday night on prime time in front of their home faithful. And yeah, not looking at it. Not looking at a good one. Freddie Burns says the uniforms are great. Walter, Broncos head coach hacked it. Yeah, what a moron. Wasted all that time in 4th and 5 to kick a 64-yard field goal and no good. Yep. Yeah, Wentz wagging this. Maybe. And Dave tells me the backup quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys is somebody named Cooper Rush. You know what would sound good? And you know what would be a poetic irony for me? Or poetic justice for me? The Cowboys signed Carson Strong. And Carson Strong comes back and lights it up against the Eagles. Boy, I can see that happening, man. Then we'd be hearing the excuses. Well, the Eagles identified Carson Strong as a good quarterback, but we just didn't keep him. That's coaching. Anyway, folks, that is my week one review of the Eagles Lions, and then my week very. I'm going to get into more of a absolutely, Fred. I was saying this the other night on my other podcast. I would love, but that's a good question though, and I think Al maybe Al and his show. I think you guys are going to be on there tomorrow. It's a question I think you need to entertain. Does Howie have the balls to trade a competent backup quarterback to a division rival and the Dallas Cowboys to boot in week 2 of the NFL season? Now, if it's for a first round draft pick, yeah, I don't give a shit. But it ain't going to be for a first round pick. But does Howie have the balls to pull something like that up? Huh? Does he have the balls to do it? That's something that I would love to keep an eye on. Walter says, Cowboys, I thought it was Babe Lundberg. Oh, my God, man. Woo! There's a name. Sean says, my man crush on Carson Strong has a bum knee. Is not doing anything. Yeah, I mean, you're probably right. But I just want to see somebody give him a chance. You know? Give him a chance. It's not a man crush. I just think, I wrote an article about him. I was really high on him coming out of college last year. I think he's just he's got all the attributes of a franchise quarterback. Now I know that's a foreign element here in this town. I know we have problems spotting that here in Philadelphia. I got that. I understand. I'm not unaware of that because we haven't had a franchise quarterback here since 2010 or 9 was Donovan's last season here. You believe that, right? We have not had a franchise quarterback since 2009. That was 1 year after my daughters were born, and they're 14 now. Wow. But no, I think Carson Strong is going to be a good quarterback. I do. Someone's going to give him a chance. Maybe it's not now. Maybe he goes and works in the Kurt Warner supermarket and stacks Wheaties boxes on the shelves, and then he goes down a similar road. But the name Carson Strong, you haven't heard the end of it. I'm telling you, someone's gonna give him a shot. I'm telling you, it has movie written all over it, man. It really does. It just does. So again, there's my week 1 review of both my picks in the NFL, 5-11 to start the season. Not good, folks. Not good. And then my very quick, somewhat of a hack up of the Eagle Lions game. It came down to just poor execution of the defense, poor execution of our quarterback and just poor execution. But we won. That's what I don't seem to understand. Why am I feeling like this? We won. Why are we all feeling like this? Is there anybody out there with their head held high, pumping their chest out, saying we beat the Lions? Anybody out there? I want to hear from you if you are, because I'm not one of them. But we won. So we move into week 2 against the Minnesota Vikings in a game where it really, is going to tell a lot about this team. It is. It's going to say a lot about this team. And if you want to hear my exact pick, you're going to have to tune in later on the week to my actual podcast, Talking Philly Sports with Matty B, where I'll welcome Kyle Quinn on when we do our pregame show. I'll reveal my score, but I am going to say that the Vikings will win. I just don't think the Eagles are what everybody else thinks they are this year. I really don't. I think they're 8-9, and I'm going to die on that hill. And what I saw on Sunday did absolutely nothing to assuage me from that prediction. I saw a team that was very similar to the one that walked off the field in 2021, yet has 17 new players. And I was right. Maybe it's coaching, but whose responsibility is that? Is it Howie hired the coaching staff? Did he put them out there? Isn't they part of Howie Roseman's magic? So I agree. I agree with everybody's, and I appreciate everybody chiming in and talking it up with me. Sean, what's up, man? With Howie, he gets for the free agent signing. The guy's good with numbers. He's never played a lick of ball. Justin Jefferson passed it on the draft. Sean, man, are you on the damn Howie payroll too? I mean, come on, man. Sean, what are you talking about? What are you talking about with the free agent signings? What have they done? No, man. Maybe I'm just, and I try to look at it objectively. Maybe I just can't because I'm not seeing what you're seeing, man. And the Justin Jefferson miss, that's epic, dude. Justin Jefferson is a good player, man. And you're going to see on Monday. It's the Justin Jefferson, and I hate to say it because he wasn't targeted not once last week, but Jalen Reagor's, and if you don't think they're going to try to mix Jalen Reagor into this, you're crazy on Monday night. But Justin Jefferson is an epic miss. It's an epic miss. Everybody wants to shoo that when we talk about, I don't talk about Justin Jefferson when you talk about how he's drafting. Why not? It's part of the reason that he stinks. And then everybody want to be like, he made up for it. He recognized the fact that Jalen Reagor was a bust and he traded him. What do we mean he recognized? We all recognized it 2 years ago. Why are we giving him credit for that? He got a 7th round draft pick for a 1st round draft pick. I just don't see it, guys. I don't see what you're seeing, man. Maybe I haven't been to the camp yet. Is there an indoctrination camp that I didn't get the invite to that you guys all went to one weekend and you had special Kool-Aid? Because I never went to that one. And maybe I'm missing out. Maybe I need to go. 7-10, no playoffs. There you go. Walter says they got a Cowboys win now with. Yeah, I'm with you about the Eagles, and I hope they do beat the Vikings, but I have a bad feeling about this Eagles team this year. Yeah, I agree with Dak out. Yeah, Walter, the Cowboys ain't going to do nothing with Dak out. Nothing. And Al says the Phillies won. I could be happy about that. I'm always happy about that. And don't forget, folks, immediately following this show, after I'm done ranting and raving about the Eagles, I'm going to be turning this thing right over to the Titans final and some great Phillies postseason push baseball as the Phillies were in action tonight down there in South Florida. Sandy Alcantara for his 9th start of the year against the Phillies. I mean, do we not get an opportunity to go against the Marlins without having to deal with Sandy Alcantara? The only pitcher they have, we got to face them every time, but we handle them every time. And now I've mentioned the Phillies did win tonight, and that's always a good thing. So don't forget, be ready, be right back with me here at 10:30 tonight as we will talk some Titans final here on the Edge of Philly Sports Network. And while I'm at it, I guess we can get on some bills. Don't forget Dolan's Bar. I guess the only bar in Ridley or the only bar in southeastern Pennsylvania that is good enough to carry the EOP moniker. Go ahead and check them out for their great food. Somebody keeps promising me a gritty. I haven't gotten one yet. I don't know if I ever will, but I'm not going to let it go. So the bar, Dolan's Bar. Don't forget Philly Sports Trips, guys. The trip down to DC is filled up. Over 1,000 people have signed up for it. I may or may not be the 1,000th person. I don't know, but And that's right. I will be part of that trip. I will be on the EOP bus with I'll be the guy sitting in the back of the bus throwing spitballs at everybody. So um, don't forget, there's more good stuff coming on Philly Sports Trips. They are going to every Eagles road game this year. Please check them out. And then don't forget the tailgate in anticipation of this week's coming Monday Night Football game down there at the Philadelphia Navy Yard on September 19th. Go ahead and go over to the website and check out all that and get all the information you can for it. And don't forget, coming up this weekend, this is the hang on, let me get to this. I get the wrong slide. Here's the one I wanted to go. Circle this date in your calendar, folks. October 2nd, we will be live at the South House, EOP and the Painted Lines, bringing you pre, post, and halftime game coverage of the Eagle Jaguar game. Doug Peterson's return to Philadelphia. We're going to be live on location. Not sure who exactly from the Painted Lines or EOP will be there. Not yet. I'm sure we'll get that information out to you as soon as we can. And don't forget, we do have pre, half, and post game coverage of the game coming up this weekend or Monday. So make sure you're checking it out. All this is going on EOP and more. And don't forget Dave Cherry at 610-565-0300 for workman's compensation, motor vehicle accidents, personal injury, criminal law. If you go, tell him the boys at EOP sent you, and he will take great care of you. And real quick, folks, want to pivot to one last thing, and we mentioned it very briefly, and I'm mentioning it even more briefly. Don't forget, be back here at 10:30 as we will talk some Eagles or some Phillies and Marlins on the Titans final. Good news for the Phillies tonight. Zach Eflin was active tonight. He's going to be in the bullpen. Some of the things we'll be talking about in the final is that where Zach Eflin needs to be, or is he back there just for a to kind of get acclimated? But is Zach Eflin more important to this team in the rotation, or is he more important to this team coming out of the bullpen? And what does that mean for Noah Syndergaard and Bailey Falter, who pitched another hell of a game tonight for the Phillies? So a lot of things coming to a head in a good way. Sir Anthony is also close to returning. So things are starting to get good with the pitching. But now some questions are going to have to be answered about this team in the postseason and how that rotation might look and how that bullpen might look. So don't forget, join me on the Titans final. Right after this. So now your prediction should be 9-8. It's 8-9. Come on, Walter. I'm not changing it. Oh, here we go. Sean, you're not going to let it go, are you, man? Because he has no knowledge of the game. Howie, he gets no love from me. He got the free agents on one-year deals. Reddick, White, Bradbury. That's what I see a plus for the team. Sean, I agree. I'm not saying he's not a master when it comes to contracts. That's obviously not what I'm saying. Okay. But the reports this week are coming out from a very reliable source, John Johnson, who I've had on this show, and I'll actually be having him back soon, said that apparently Howie is now in the room when they're game planning. Why is the GM in the room when they're game planning? Howie has said many times he is not a football guy. That's not his job. He lets the coaches put together the game plan. But now there's reports that he's in the room when they game plan. What does that mean to you? It means to me that Nick Sirianni is a puppet and that he gets run over all the time by Howie Roseman, and that maybe Howie is a little bit more involved with this team than we're giving him credit for, which obviously is a negative thing because, as you mentioned, he's not a football guy. And as far as the one-year contracts for all these free agents, I go back to my Philadelphia, this day in Philly sports history, which was yesterday, actually, September 12th, when the dawn of the Andy Reid era started in this town. Anybody can go out there and bring in 20 free agents a year on one-year deals and pray to God we get lightning in the bottle. When did that happen? 2017. Maybe that's what Howie's doing. He's using the 2017 lightning in the bottle approach. But that's not what we want to see here, or that's at least not what I want to see. All right. I'm not a millennial. I'm Gen X to the bone, right? I can wait and be patient for a winner to develop. I don't need instant gratification. I want this team to be built the way a championship team is built, through the draft. There's a major problem right there. Through the draft, through smart long-term contracts with young players, and then add depth as we go forward. Part of our problems with our week one issues, with the excuse of being a team that wasn't ready to play, is because we're 17 new players. But the madness doesn't stop with that, because next year it'll be 20 new players. The year after that might be 14 new players. That's the way Howie does this. We all said he pivoted away from, he ran it back in 18, he ran it back in 19, he ran it back in 20. And then he said, no, I'm not doing that more. I'm going to go a different way. Well, what was that different way? Because he's doing the same thing. He's running it back, but with different players. The same approach. That's all I'm saying. So don't throw at me the excuse of being week one jitters, no chemistry. This is the way this team is built every year. So maybe they should put something in their coaching to account for that. Let's admit that the product on the field may not be what we expected it to be. No one's answering me any questions about Nakobe Dean. When I say his name, I hear crickets. But I remember draft night very specifically on EOP, listening to the victory hurrahs for Howie Roseman for plucking a first-round talent out of the third round. But yet he didn't see the field. You don't think I'm keeping an eye on that? I am. And I don't want him to fail. But once again, instead of going from victory hurrahs on draft night, now we're making excuses. So we have to be patient. Let's wait. Which one is it, folks? Is it victory hurrahs or is it excuses? Pick a side. Any side. Lori and Howie are puppet masters to the yes man Sirianni to control him. Is that what you want, Sean? Is that what you want? They need to stay in the sweet field. I agree. Is that what we want? We want a puppet master in charge of our coach? Nick Sirianni is a joke, folks. He's a goddamn joke. But go Birds, and I preface all that by saying I this is what kills me about all this whole stance that I take is that I'm saying it because I love this team. I'm saying it because what I witness week after week tears my heart out, even when they win. Because we know deep down that this team never would have beaten any other team with the way they played. Blame coaching, blame the players, poor execution, blame Howie. The problem is we're blaming. We're not enjoying, we're blaming. But we have a right to blame because we are concerned. We're a knowledgeable fan base that doesn't like the direction our team is headed. And everybody's 13-4, 12-5 preseason predictions are now starting to dwindle with the summer sun. 8-9. Folks, that is going to do it for me. I appreciate you guys coming out and spending over an hour listening to me talk to myself. It is great. I guess I'm okay unless I start answering myself. But always a great pleasure to be here. Always a great pleasure to be part of this great family of EOP and the Painted Lions and Devereaux Sports. Can't forget about them. Oh yeah, let me put up the. I forgot the schedule. I'm sorry, Al. He's gonna yell at me. Tonight it was a chock full night. We had the Kelly Green Hour on earlier, me, the Birds of the Round Table, Chalk Talk, and then of course I'm going to wrap this thing up in about a half hour with Fight's Final. Tomorrow, don't forget the flagship show, the Edge of Philly Live. Big Al and Freddie Burns are going to bring you into. They're going to give you their. I'm going to bet on the fact that they're going to give you their breakdown of the Week 1 Lion game, and then of course me coming up a little bit later as we will talk Game 2, Phillies Marlins on the Fight's Final. And everything else that is happening on the network. It's amazing, and it's a beautiful thing to see this slide every week, that it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. It needs to keep growing. So if you know anybody out there that wants to be the next Matty B, come on up, let Al know, and we'll give him a shot. Because I know there's a lot of people out there who want to run me out of town. So we're always looking for the next replacement. So, but seriously, EOP is growing, and if any you are really interested in doing this, reach out to Big Al. That's how I got here. You know what? So that's the worst thing that can be said is no. But that's going to do it for me tonight, folks. Always a pleasure. I appreciate it for the support, for the interaction, and as they say, that is the news, and I am out of here.